Kryptonana, exit liquidity hodl nana, dump it all. Kryptonana, exit liquidity hodl nana, dump it all.
Kryptonana, exit liquidity,
dump it all.
hodl nana, dump it all. From the day we arrive on the blockchain and blinking step into the trade, there's more to lose than can ever be won, more to dump than can never be saved. Influencers, tweets, and the noobs all follow, buying high, selling low, what a game. But the boomers know, and Sailor, he knows that the dump is coming. It's all the same. It's the circle of exit liquidity, and it moves us all through despair and hope, through faith and FOMO, till we find our place on the path unwinding in the circle of exit liquidity. Some of us fall by the wayside, and some of us soar to the stars, but the influencers always win with the Lambos and their cars. So beware of the pump and the inevitable dump, for the cycle continues and the news get wrecked. Kryptonana, exit liquidity hodl nana, dump it all. Kryptonana, exit liquidity hodl nana, dump it all. Kryptonana, exit liquidity, dump it all. hodl nana, dump it all. It's the circle of exit liquidity, and it moves us all through despair and hope, through faith and FOMO, till we find our place on the path unwinding in the circle of exit liquidity. Dump it all.
So hey everyone, happy Friday. Sorry for the different time, but I figured we'd want some extra time to go over this whole thing. What a week it's been, right? How has your week been, Mark, by the way? I know how I've seen the tumultuousness around
all
Zcash,
this, yeah,
but also on everything else. But I don't pretend. I know that I'm friends with one of the Zotl people, and I know he's like, well, between the last couple nights, I've had maybe 5 hours of sleep total. I'm like, damn. And I'm so
yeah.
Anyway, what's your life been like?
Well, I've been lucky because I'm not part of that security working group that consists of members of Shielded Lab, members of Zotl, and members of the Zcash Foundation, with help from some of the new orgs like Dave Oja's org and Sean Bozorg, they've been assisting or whatever. I've been sleeping well, and I've been rested, and I've been just watching in admiration of what I saw as one of the best security responses in all of tech. I've been working in tech for 20 years, and I've been privy to security responses. I've led security responses myself. This was awesome. Like, I am going to start out of the gates with, those people that did stay up all night should be praised and rewarded, and this should be viewed as nothing but a positive thing for Zcash and like the privacy crypto space in general.
Yeah, that's it has been pretty cool to see. Some of this like FUD out there has been crazy, but we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, that's the thing. I don't want to spend too much time on this because it's always it's negativity around people that I like, but I have seen a lot of Litecoiners.
Litecoiners. At two Litecoin.
Yeah, and some of them being dumb troll people, but some of them being people I didn't really dislike that much, saying some, I don't know, being opportunistic on this thing. And all I want to say on that is, look, both Zcash and Litecoin had some sort of a inflation bug in the private pool. Zcash discovered it as soon as it was humanly possible, or in this case, inhumanly possible to figure out, and was halted and patched in record time in just a matter of a couple days, right? Whereas the Litecoin one, it was patched in 5 weeks or something, and it was actually exploited, and people actually did lose funds, at least lost like over $600,000 worth of funds.
Yep. And
the victims were blamed, as in buyer beware, if you use Litecoin, this could happen, it's on you. And that is a light years worse. Like, I kind of feel like the Zcash ecosystem response and action to this is like either an A or an A+. It's like up there as far as how good this was for considering what happened. And for the Litecoin one is maybe like a D. Like,
yeah,
they patched it, they figured out, and I don't want to talk smack about it, especially David Burkett, who's a fantastic dev and took all kinds of responsibility for things that weren't even his fault. So I don't want to say, maybe he's an A at least. But as far as like all the delays and the handling and not being able to get in touch with even exchanges and mining pools quickly enough, it shows the difference, and it shows the difference in like the market cap of the assets, to be honest, right? As far as like what's a stellar team and what's kind of a more of an early days team, Yeah, that's the double-edged sword of like decentralization, I guess. Litecoin, and they follow the Bitcoin tradition of like, as decentralized and permissionless as possible. Whereas Zcash, we have the email addresses of the people from the mining pools. We have the email addresses and contact information of the people on the exchanges, in the wallet developers. I can hit up all 10 wallets that I know on Signal right now if I want to, and be like, hey, you need to do this because of whatever. And that takes a lot of time and care and craft to be able to build an ecosystem like that, where everybody generally, it definitely is mission driven, definitely is aligned on the mission, and generally has a good enough relationship to at least field an email and field a response, especially when it comes to security. So they were able to and there was no chain halt, there was no transactions besides Orchard that were halted. They just turned off Orchard spends or Orchard outputs to protect the users' funds, by the way, until they could roll out the patch, and then they turned them back on. And that was, the emergency hard fork that you heard of, which, again, Zcash has a tradition of doing just periodic hard forks by just changing a variable inside the node every 6 months, and the nodes have
termination heights and things like that, and that's all like intentionally designed to make it one of the most like robust and secure assets out there. Recently we saw all these AI vulnerabilities being reported, not just in Zcash. I think we're on at least half dozen or more now that have been mitigated, properly disclosed and mitigated. And I'll get into the reasons why that's the path that people usually take with Zcash. And once we started seeing all that stuff, that's when we said, okay, Shielded Labs needs to hire somebody. Who better than Taylor Hornby, who has been with the project for 10 years, knows Zcash inside and out, has done security audits on the code already. Arm that person with the frontier model that has the track record for finding the most vulnerabilities, and others, because there's overlap between the model, or there's significant non-intersection between the models and the things you find. And you get something like this combined with the coordination from Zottle and the Zcash Foundation. You get one of this security response where the problem was mitigated in, I want to say less than 24 hours, but I think you could easily say about 24 hours. This was handled.
Yeah, which is like the thing about. So, well, first just going over the order of things, right? So, throwing up Zcash Open Development Lab says Orchard vulnerability successfully remediated. Mm-hmm. And this article goes through all the stuff. Key points: Pool's soundless vulnerability was discovered and successfully. There's no evidence it was exploited. No unauthorized value creation has been detected. No, the total Zex supply remains safe, which this is something that I probably agree with, right? But I don't necessarily agree with how confident it was, and I guess that's where we're getting into this stuff. But basically, the issue did not affect privacy, blah, blah, blah. It's very just like timely, open and shut case. There was a thing, we figured it out, we fixed it, it's done, right? And I kind of feel like that was episode 1 of this, the first chapter in this. First chapter is like, oh, there's a thing, what are we doing? Hard fork or soft fork, stop this. No one told Cake Wallet. There's all that kind of stuff going on.
Oh, man.
And then, I'll get to that in a second, right? But so we had all that. And then chapter 2 is book is open and shut, is done. And then chapter 3, which is kind of where we're at now, Zuko chimes in, also known as the founder of Zcash, for those who don't know, also known as the Shielded Labs guy, also known as just an overall great dude, but also a much more of a man of science than of business, if I were to say that. He's much more kind of on that. So he gives Shielded Labs security update, and it wasn't just by Zuko, by the way. He posted it, but it was by Jason McGee and Taylor Hornby as well. He talks about the vulnerability.
Do me a favor,
and he
real
said,
quick,
yes.
And also scroll down to the bottom of that post, because there's a ton of other people that edited and reviewed and contributed to this post. Right?
Yes. Thanks to Sean Bowe, Dev Oja, David Campbell.
Yeah,
Alex Bornstein, Nate Wilcox, Chris Nuttycombe, and Vitalik Buterin for review and feedback. That's a lot of heavy hitters too. And I've had David Campbell and Nate Wilcox also on the podcast before, so I need to collect the rest of the Infinity Stones. Got to get the rest of them on there.
Get the rest of the people. So this gets characterized as, Zuko chimed in again and was too honest and blah, blah, blah. But this was reviewed by 10 people. And
yes,
a lot of people agree that it's the way to do this.
Yes, and this is the meat right here. The vulnerability could have been exploited to undetectably create an unlimited amount of counterfeit Zcash ZEC within Orchard. Because of the privacy properties of Orchard, there's no way to cryptographically prove whether the vulnerability was exploited before it was remediated. However, a network upgrade can be deployed to protect users and prove the integrity of the Zcash supply. Now, that sounds very different from the short. It's not contradictory to the previous, to the Zola post.
The
It's the
Zottle
same
post, I believe,
thing,
has a
but
sentence that says like, "There's no evidence that the exploit was that this was
yes,
exploited. There's no evidence that the bug was exploited." That's perfectly true. The feedback that we've seen um, is that it's omits the other side of that where there's no evidence that it wasn't exploited either. You know what I mean? There's
yes,
the other thing, and that's the problem, and that's the property, like the Zugos post said, of shielded pools in general. That's a problem that Monero is
hmm
going to have with FCMP Plus. That's a problem that Dash is going to have with your Orchard implementation. Any of these purely private things, you can't have pure privacy and an auditable supply at the same time. It's impossible. The only thing you can do
hmm
is what Zuko is suggesting would be to move the funds through the turnstile system to another, essentially like a clone of Orchard, Orchard
hmm
V2 or whatever you want to call it, um, and audit the supply that way, and that would preserve. It truly and mathematically and whatever verifiably preserve the 20 million supply cap if you did that.
yes. Uh, it's something I should sort of point out with the difference in the communication on these two things, which is subtle. Like it's, we're kind of splitting hairs almost. One said they both recapped the facts. One said there's no evidence that there was an exploit. The other says there's no evidence there was an exploit, but there's also no evidence that there was either. So we kind of plays both sides. The the first one said, the Zodal one said, essentially, the funds are secure, everything's fine, and the Shielded Labs one essentially said we can make it so that we're sure that everything's fine. Oh, you're muted, I think, here.
So there is language in the Shielded Labs post about why it's unlikely
Yes.
that the exploit happened. I think it's important that we cover that because it's not just this sort of, well, we don't know, sorry. It's saying, okay, look, this was a researcher, Taylor Hornby, who has intricate knowledge of the Zcash protocol. His name is on the protocol spec. And he has been doing security audits and security research on Zcash for the entire time. Armed with Opus 4.8, which is like the newest of the new models. It's not Mythos, but I believe as like a registered white hat hacker, Taylor has had access to 4.8 a little bit sooner than some other people. So armed with that knowledge and that the most advanced tool that the known universe has ever seen when it comes to these things, was able to find this really, really, like if you really squint and you make the inputs to the circuit this kind of way, you can start making nullifiers that are, multiple valid nullifiers for the same node. That was the thing that he found. And then very quietly told Zottle about it and did all those things. There's no Josh made a good post about heuristics. There's no heuristical evidence. Like the shielded pool amount only went down by 60K coins. And unless it's the most patient hacker in the world that also has all that knowledge and also had that tool, you think you would have seen a lot more coins move out of Orchard by now.
Yeah, especially because, like, we're talking about the timelines, like, the likelihood of someone having this access before Taylor is just, I wouldn't say infinitesimally small, but it's very, very low. Like, who would have had the amount of expertise everything that got missed by, I don't know, there must have been millions of dollars spent on audits over the years of the code base. And the best in the business couldn't find anything. And the best in the AI business couldn't find anything up until right now. Like, the odds of someone else being able to find that bug and exploit it, especially in time, is super low. Within 24 hours, I guess, the emergency soft fork paused the pool, so there weren't really able to be transactions. So the hacker would have had to get it and then start doing stuff like really, really, really fast. And then even now, that everything is unpaused and everything works and the thing is patched, there is clearly going to be a turnstile event. Let's just say everyone out of the pool. This one got pooped in, and then you go into the next one, and that means that the timing to actually sell coins, if you created this, is really getting down. And we're not seeing any evidence of that yet. Doesn't mean it won't happen, but the evidence is piling up that nothing really happened, probably.
Yeah. You also combine the fact with the culture of Zcash, and the Monero Litecoin FUD people can say what they want about this, but these are like ethics maxing people here. they
I need to get that
people,
on a shirt. You should get ethics max zing with the Z on there. Ethics max zing.
Yeah. I mean, like these are people that would rather tell you the brutal, honest truth and then do something about it than, I'm just trying to sidestep some of the fun that we get, because everybody is like, aha, we knew it. We knew there was an infinite glitch. We knew there was a backdoor in Orchard. By the way, check out the Zcash office hours with Colluding Node that we just did, where we went through Orchard and the code and the circuit in his really detailed slides, and talked about how we tried to find the Orchard backdoor and we couldn't, but we're not Taylor, we're not Claude 4.8. And the face of this AI apocalypse, I mean, God, Node.js, NPM is getting nailed. There's all these supply chain
Tails Linux just got wrecked.
Gnarly. And what better plan than to hire the person who knows Zcash really well with the best tools to beat, to front run all this stuff and find the flaws before the bad guy did. If I was a holder of Zcash, which I am, I would want people to be doing what they're doing to protect the protocol.
Yeah. So from my perspective, I guess this seems to be kind of almost the ideals. It's funny because we're in a situation of not happiness, I would say, this week. But it's almost a perfect thing. It's just like you end up finding a fire starting in your basement right when a candle happened to fall over, and then you snuff it out and get rid of it immediately, and there's no damage to your property. And you're like, wow, that was incredibly lucky. I'm so grateful that we were patrolling and just happened to be making one last look throughout the house before leaving, and this random electrical fire started or something. We got all fixes done. That should be one of the biggest "there is a God, we were saved" moments.
Right.
Everything is fantastic, but yet it's pitched as this problem, this serious problem, right? And I think a lot of it is that the space, let's just say the entire crypto space, especially the dumb investors, not saying all the investors are dumb, I'm saying the dumb ones of the investors, have just not, it's just kind of it reminds me a little bit of children who don't yet know what death is. They just no, we're going to be around forever. It's no, everything kind of dies at some point. And I think that people just, when Zuko just said it out loud, or Zuko, not to pit on Zuko, when the accurate public statements were just very frank, but also very positive, but frank about, this has always been an issue with, this is something we just have to deal with, like death. It's just always with us. Everyone's what? You mean, no, it's been the whole way for every privacy coin since 2012 when Bytecoin came out. Everything has been like this since day one. It's just it's gravity. It's like a law of the universe.
If you can audit the supply, you don't have privacy. I mean, it's the it's fundamental. I've even seen people saying that Monero's combination of ring signatures and decoys and this and that, it gives you both, because you have Monero-like privacy and you can still audit the supply. And I don't buy it. I think it's not as pure. And there's a reason why they're implementing zero knowledge proofs now.
So also I should point out something, and I obviously, I am not a cryptographer, and even a lot of cryptographers probably don't have complete knowledge on all this stuff. So I gotta have the massive asterisk before Dum Dum over here starts running his mouth. But
Same.
Bytecoin, which started CryptoNote, right, the first CryptoNote coin, had an inflation bug that was exploited in 2017, I believe, and it basically killed the project. Monero also had that bug, from my understanding, and patched it. And the idea is it's before it was exploited. And the evidence of that, from my cursory research, again, throwing the asterisks everywhere, is that the one way of being able to determine the supply is the Coinbase rewards are public. So you basically say, what is the expected amount of emission so far of the entire coin, and some match that with the Coinbase rewards, and they found no mismatch, and they found no other proof that there was an exploit. So probably there wasn't. But at the same time, it's so I would say I would almost consider it I would consider it like a softer version of where Zcash is today in terms of the exploit, where the big difference is it was discovered in Bytecoin and actually exploited by someone, which means someone could have done that to Monero too. Whereas no one outside of Zcash is confirmed to have known, or outside of the Zcash teams is confirmed to have even known about this exploit. So it's more likely than a Zcash exploit, I think. This is my opinion. Again, people can argue. Maybe they're right, I'm wrong, I don't know. But also, if there was an exploit, you can kind of minimize the damage or be sure again of the supply of Zcash with a turnstiling into a new pool. Whereas Monero, it's just permanent now. It's like you got to live with that uncertainty forever and ever now. And I think that's like, listen, the thing is, that sounds like almost like a gotcha or something, but like it's one of those, it's a risk, and risks are risks, right? And it's not like
something
people
you
try
should
to be
understand.
like this, like there is a God, there isn't a God, rather than, well, this is likely, we just live with it, you know?
This is what we know, this is what we can see. And yeah, if you're a holder of Zcash, you should understand that that is part of what makes a shield. It's a property of the shielded pool, is that the supply is not auditable, not cryptographically auditable, but it can be.
The supply of the shielded pool is not
of the shielded pool, of one specific shielded pool, which has 30% of the total known supply is in Orchard. So the transparent pool is fine. Sprout had an inflation bug that was fixed again before anybody could figure it out, and that's when they implemented the turnstile system. There's still 25k ZAC in Sprout, so there's no balance violation, there's no supply violation. Sapling, as far as we know, still looking good. I'm sure they're analyzing that. Again, I'm not on any of these teams that are doing this. I just know what I see publicly, and I know what I hear. So it's good. Again, I'm gonna just repeatedly assert this is a very positive thing. This is what you should be doing if you are a serious cryptocurrency. And Zcash itself is almost like this genius sync, where like some of the smartest cryptographers in the world and some of the best engineers in the world, myself not included, I'm a fucking idiot, but are work on Zcash, and they work on it for the reason that it is one of the most advanced implementations of cryptography in practice, like applied cryptography. So those people already all reviewed this code before it got launched anyway. So like it's not perfect. It's not going to be perfect. And even if we have an army of AIs and formal verification, which is what the Tachyon team is doing, which is what they should be doing. We're going to launch a formally verified pool that has been audited by every AI known to man and some of the smartest people on Earth. It still won't be perfect, but it will be way, 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 way more perfect than even Orchard is now, which is pretty damn good. Like,
yeah. So I should also put some tidbits on this stuff, right?
Yeah.
It does seem like Zcash's implementations of privacy tech seem to be where all the brain drain, as you mentioned, the brain drain is going. I remember I was working with some devs on Dash earlier in the last couple of years to try to get a confidential transactions on the chain via like, you know, something like bulletproof, something similar to like that part of, you know, like Monero having bulletproof confidential transactions plus ring signatures. And so just the confidential transactions part, and talking with the devs, they're just looking at what are the best and most worked through, most audited implementations. And it's just like, well, I think the top one was basically Litecoin in MWeb. And unfortunately, that seems to be, at least something about that implementation was exploited in Litecoin. So that never made it into Dash's code base. And eventually the top developers, especially Sam Westrich, the lead developer, kind of looked into Orchard and was like, this stuff's really cool. I bet we can do it on Dash. And looked into that and is like, again, looking to that as like the top of the heap. And then in the last few days has been looking through stuff. And first of all, is also doing what Taylor Hornby has been doing as far as soon as there's a new model, just rush to like run everything through that.
Run everything, yeah.
But also has been thinking about, because right now that stuff is, I think, going on testnet pretty soon for Dash. And so, you know, thankfully, thanks you guys for taking the hit a little bit. But like also there's been some thoughts, some discussion on, should we keep it in testnet until Claude Mythos is out or not? Because like maybe that'll be the next thing that'll uncover new things. And then so there's like a lot of like everyone's sort of waiting on the same stuff. Everyone's kind of like, this affects all of crypto, all the real people building in crypto. This is kind of like the front lines right here.
Right. Yeah, some of the stuff that I've seen, even Opus 4.8 come out with, has been really interesting. I don't know if you're into like ROM hacking or like NES emulation tricks. Have you ever seen like?
I have
if
used
you, like,
emulators. I've not done it myself. I've not built
stuff
myself.
There's like a hack in Super Mario Brothers 3 where if you like break this block and then pick up one of the shells and run to this one spot and wait 30 seconds and then jump this way, it'll reset the game and everything will be weird and you get all these like secret glitched out levels or something like that. Like you have to do all these in order to get all the
is that built in? Is that intentional or is that sometimes just a weird bug?
Glitch. Like you just make sure all the registers on the chips have these values in them, and then do this and it'll just cause this glitch that like, you know, it has to be in this really specific state. That's the type of stuff that these models are finding now. It's like, do this, get the transaction of this thing, wait for mine to do this, and at this exact moment do this, and then wait 3 blocks and blah, blah, blah. And then you can do this attack. Like it's these really intricate multi-step attacks that are happening now that I think only something with the working memory of 1 million token context can even like piece together. And you know, the chain of reasoning that's happening under the scenes, like it's really incredible stuff what these are finding. So be careful out there, everybody. And I would say if you're vibe coding, tell your vibe coding agent to not use any dependencies at all. Don't trust any third-party dependencies. Write everything from scratch if you can. Like,
yeah, except for NPM. I think you can put all your trust in NPM and you're gonna be fine.
Rates.io, like
that was sarcasm in case people didn't detect.
Yeah, exactly. NPM is NPM, but use audited crates. Like, just be really careful because we're back to like the Wild West of like the late 90s when it comes to this stuff. As far as like how scary it is on the internet. Yeah,
the hack apocalypse. Well, this is one of those things about like risk versus everything. And people have asked me this stuff about like the living on crypto stuff where like I think I have like $400 in stable coins and that's about it. Like everything else is like real crypto. And like, oh my gosh, how do you deal with that? I'm like, well, life is risk. Like your fiat goes down all the time. If you have a business, especially a seasonal business, half the year you're in the red and then the other half you make enough money that you're fine. Like there's just up and down and risk. You just got to learn how to mitigate risk. You have to you know, you have to diversify your investments. You have to diversify income streams sometimes, and you just have to be really judicious with your spending. All those kinds of things, and people don't like that. Like they don't. They just think I'm gonna, you know, in the case of like Zcash, I'm just gonna buy Zec. I'm gonna make a bunch of money. It's like, well, listen, you're gonna buy Zec, and then things will happen after that. But we don't know what those things are gonna be under which time frame, right?
Well,
Could go up, could go down, could go whatever. You could have money stuck in a shielded pool, but you could have had Monero go to zero if you were, or Bitcoin in this case. You could have had you could have had money in Bitcoin, and then a hacker finds all your money and then hits you over the head with a wrench to take it because it's not private. Like there's just all over the place so much uncertainty and risk.
Okay, I'll say something controversial. I'll go on a limb here and say something that there is some counterparty risk with holding your coins in Zec, whether it's the transparent pool or the orchard pool. And the counterparties are Tulip King and Arthur Hayes and Thread Guy and Gainsey and everybody who's selling.
Not anymore.
Well, okay, what did I miss?
Well, no, Arthur Hayes dumped. He like
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that like their reaction to this, based on their like misunderstanding. I said Tulip King. He explained that I'm actually doing a principled short in addition to holding it back. Like whatever. The fact that they're like using this to create content for their own content streams and to do this based on this opportunistic thing, it's almost worse than the fudsters, because the fudsters are going to fud no matter what. Like the people that are complaining about this from a FUD perspective are people who miraculously already had a bone to pick with Zcash and are now looking for a reason to say something bad about it. But Arthur Hayes, I was forced to dump my position. Please, I thought you were a master. I thought you could have held on. I thought you had gold in hand. I thought anybody that sells is an idiot. So, that type of thing. That's a lot more harmful than mismatched communications between two organizations, or even a bug in the zero knowledge proof circuit, which is nigh impossible. These reactions based on the willful misunderstanding of the technicals is way worse than.
Well, let me be maybe spicier than you.
Okay,
on this,
dude. It's Friday. Let's do this.
Yeah, crack open some cognac or whatever. But most of the crypto world, and I have to admit I've been guilty of this a lot less over the years. I got more old and zen about things, but a lot of the crypto world has been super walking on eggshells lest truths come out, and there's just so many truths. It's not one thing, but lest that the bags go to zero, just like the Bitcoin emperor has no clothes, as we're seeing with the whole Sailor crash. People have been well, don't criticize it too much because it's going on, and if not, people might dump, and and then technology just I don't know, I'm gonna leave Monero open for a second, but whatever coin that the hash rate it can be easily 51% attacked, and but don't say it because everyone's been sort of super trepidatious with the truth in crypto, which is wild considering this is supposed to be the emperor has no clothes movement, but yet it is the most nudity, most accidental nudity of all. It's so people have been so trepidatious on these things that when someone like Zuko says something clear, Zuko again, someone the fully audited Shielded Labs panel of experts with a public statement under Zuko's account says a true statement, people collectively lose their shit, and I kind of think that just means we need to do more of it, about more things. Send it all to zero, not zero, but send it all to $4, right? Say all the uncomfortable things. Say all the things this doesn't work. This could break if this, whatever. Burn it all all that stuff off so that you don't have this this sword of Damocles over your head of what if a whale gets spooked and dumps because of the thing? I just get rid of that stuff. Dump them all now so that the whales who come back in are the ones who actually understand the tech and won't know what's going on.
Yeah, I am amazed. No, I'm completely astonished that somebody has not done a AI assisted attack on Bitcoin. I am sure there's stuff in there you could do, and if you do it, you're a fucking scumbag. But I'm amazed that nobody has. Like,
There's a lot of scumbags out there, though.
there's a lot of scumbags in crypto. That's why I rage quit crypto in the first place and came back just to work on Zcash because I couldn't deal with the casino. And you know, it's incredible. And I liked what you said about, you know, there's this sort of soft equivalent of an integrity problem with these centralized exchanges and the DATs like Sailor and stuff. Like, they're handing out IOUs for Bitcoin, and they're not even sure what's it called when a bank loan out a fiduciary note like 12 times based on their, you know,
there's hypothecation or something, or is that something else?
Yeah. There's nothing stopping even the most principled exchanges from doing something like that. So, like, you know, but again, people should know this, and I think that's the main tension here. Is that, do you want to know the ugly truth?
I do, but no one else does.
David Bowie called it the heart's filthy lesson. Do you want to know the fact? Do you want to know about your own mortality and the thing, or do you want to just live like the Bitcoin maxis do and just quantum's not coming anytime soon? There's no integrity problem in Bitcoin. You know, even though somebody minted 190 gajillion Bitcoin at one time, it's fine. We just roll back. Everybody will just do a hard fork. We'll just start from before there was a problem, and we'll go from there and to the moon.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing with that,
it's not interesting. It's not intellectually interesting.
Yes, obviously, to me, I agree. The thing about, like, that also reminds me of, like, Satoshi's coins, right? Because Satoshi is either dead or missing or lost the coins, whatever. This is my opinion. I don't think it's a very controversial opinion. But it's a lot of people are really worried about in the quantum threat from the point of view of someone's going to dump Satoshi's coins on the market. And there's an uncomfortable truth where, of all the cryptocurrencies that have permanently lost coins, Bitcoin's got to be close to the top as far as a percentage. And then each fork of Bitcoin is, again, a much larger percentage because unclaimed coins, etc. So the real market cap of Bitcoin, I would say, is probably half of what it is, because half the coins are just not real. They're not. They're never going to be on the market. The amount of value is divided by half the amount of coins that we think that there are. And when you have a quantum adversary able to just take all the dead wallets and start picking them off and dumping them on the market, that the revealing will be healing, so to speak. And sometimes you don't want that healing power.
No. I know for a fact that for years there's been people run processes. This is like the most brute force way to do this, to steal people's Bitcoins. They just run a 24/7 computer process that just comes up with new seeds and just tries this seed, you know, like, just generate a bunch of secret keys as hard as you possibly can, check if there's any Bitcoin in the address associated with that secret key. No, okay, move on to the next one. And they do it forever. And those type of attacks have been going on for like a decade now, and they're only getting more sophisticated with AI and things like that. So again, like, we've been telling the Bitcoin people that the writing's been on the wall for a long time, even before LLMs were invented, you know, and before the Google paper on quantum that is showing that, like, this is coming and it's coming sooner than you think, all those different things. So, like, yeah, that's why we're wasting our time on Zcash doing quantum recoverability and doing all those things, because, like, some of the smartest people on earth are seeing the writing on the wall, where, again, people really are in denial. They have their head in the sand, or more likely, they know in their heart that something is wrong, but they're just hoping that they can hold on for long enough to dump before everybody else does. And before that,
that's the thing. I think people are either really, really dumb, or a lot of people want to keep the dum-dums quiet so they can dump on them. It's the circle of exit liquidity, right? It's like
the circle of exit liquidity. It's very apt.
It's unfortunately true. So I'm going to get through a couple of these bits on this because there's so many facets to the whole thing. We could just ramble straight on. Yeah. I wrote some article that I put out a few hours ago. I'm putting up here called "Privacy Turnstiles and Trade-offs," which goes through, in context of this new thing, different models where purely transparent cryptos, optional shielding, or mandatory shielding, and what are the benefits and risks for privacy, as well as for supply, like auditability and stuff. Where, for example, if it's a transparent coin, obviously no risk. If it's a optional shielded coin, the members of the pool could get stuck in and wrecked, but the total supply of the coin is not at risk. Where if it's completely private, everything could be at risk. And on that way down, there is something interesting about, at least I thought it was interesting because I wrote about it, is the idea of pass-through privacy, which I'm sure you're well familiar with, where people think, oh, I move 100 Zec into the shielded pool, and then I move it right back out. I've cleaned it. I've washed it. No one will try. Like, which is not how things work. But I sort of
nobody will open CipherScan to the front page and see detected as a shielding error. That that's the features of the new block explorers, and Zcash will point that out. Be like, oh, somebody just shielded and unshielded the exact same amount in a really short period of time. I wonder if it's the same person.
Yes.
Again, like,
so now
you can't
on the other
so
let me hit the other side of this, right? Yeah. On the other side of this, the longer privacy, funds at rest equal more privacy. On the other hand, there is some more risk to it because of this events of this week. So the good thing about a turnstile system, but more importantly a system that gives users the options, is there is a certain amount of risk. Risk profiles are different, right? Like, I might want private funds, but I might be really this is all my money. So want to have them go through a shielded pool at some point, wait some point of time, move them out in different pieces, and just deal with maybe a high-level adversary can trace me, but I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about petty thieves, but I don't have money in the shielded pool, so therefore I don't have these risk of being stuck in the shielded pool. Whereas other people might be like, look, I have nation states coming after me. If I lose all my money, that's not nearly as bad as me going to prison forever. I'm going to have everything in the shielded pool and just deal with that risk. And there's different risks and different things people might want to do.
Yeah, so pass-through privacy, I would say one of the major risks is having your coins marked as that have gone through, for example, Tornado Cash or something like that. I mean, that's a real problem, is that you lose fungibility if you get caught using a mixer or a pass-through system like that. I mean, I know that's not kind of what you're talking about, but it's worth just categorizing these. And then the risk with a shielded pool is not really that the risk of a turnstile shielded pool that is auditing the supply that goes in and out of it is not that somebody's going to inflate the max supply of Zcash by minting about a billion trillion coins in Orchard, because that's undetectable. So it pissed me off when CoinGecko changed the max supply of Zcash to a little question mark.
I honestly thought that was like a troll. I thought that was like
was it a troll?
An AI troll or something. I don't know if they did. Well, actually, let me verify again. We're all about what are they called?
You're right. I should not have said that.
Formal verification or whatever. We're all about that stuff these days. Let's see what it says.
So they got me. Yeah. So they got me. The trolls got me.
No, they didn't. It was a troll. It must have been one of them dum-dums. So you get a pass, CoinGecko. I think I saved you live on it.
Sorry, CoinGecko. I'm sorry, CoinGecko. I'm sorry. You're great. I love you.
Well, no.
But suppose they did. No, it would have. The risk is not that it's going to inflate the max supply, because the max supply is inauditable. The risk is that Orchard will become insolvent. That there'll be a bank run essentially on Orchard, and the counterfeit coins will get out before yours do, and you won't be able to move your coins through the turnstile. That's the risk. So, to use your examples, somebody having their coins marked and frozen BlockBuy using Tornado Cash or something like that, which we've seen. I'm not making that up. Or later on down the road, you might not be able to move your coins out. And somebody who has, if somebody has 30,000 coins in Sprout right now, and there was an inflation bug, then they would lose 5,000 of their ZEC, and that's serious. But again, Sprout still has a positive balance. Orchard, I think, 10 years from now will have a positive balance. So it's those are the risks, and I have a big theme of this episode is know the risks of what you're doing, and I think communicating them clearly is important.
Yeah. So, there's some interesting stuff I'd like to point out here. Just that we're getting on the sort of talking about people saying dumb things part of things. There's been so much crap, and this is one thing I've noticed, right? I think Zcash really annoyed a lot of people with this last, 6 months, 9 months pump or whatever. And it's on a few levels. First of all, obviously competitors being, some people, and I give the asterisk of some, and we'll get into that later for the Monero people. Obviously, Litecoiners don't seem very happy about being passed in market cap either. A lot of Litecoiners, let's say. Then there's a lot of Bitcoin maxis because Zcash kind of swung at the king. The whole encrypted Bitcoin narrative and all this stuff has been a little antagonistic towards Bitcoin, and that has obviously paid a lot of dividends, and it's had some risks. And so now the maxis know about it, and now they're going to, double down. But also just everyone who just didn't buy Zcash when it was low is super happy to see the pump over because they're like, see, I wouldn't have made money anyway, kind of thing. So there's just been a torrent of negativity and crappy stuff that I don't think is worth giving attention to, except for the very dumbest of them. And I will just highlight this thing. Apparently, don't trust verify. I cracked what that actually means. It means you don't know anything until you've asked Mert. So let me put this up on the screen here. MSB Intel said, breaking. Reports circulating that on X that Zcash network is down are false per Mert. And they tag him there. And so I commented, per Mert? Literally, you just wait for Mert to tweet before verifying basic public info.
Check with Mert before. I mean, he wasn't wrong. It wasn't down. It never went down. They were blocked.
Yes,
mine.
But it's funny that was their source. Citation, Mert.
I thought, you know what? I thought you were going to say
Red Neuner, or whoever his name is. He's been saying, yo, Mert, CDM, please. Need some clarity on the Zcash thing. Guys, please help me get Mert to see this. Just like... Or proof of Mert. The best consensus mechanism in all of crypto is clearly proof of Mert.
Proof of Mert. Yes, exactly.
Like if Mert doesn't speak on it, it doesn't exist. It's pretty funny.
Get engagement on X at all costs. That's what you have to do. And if you have to tag Mert to do it, you got to tag Mert to do it. That's the game we're all playing here, I guess, whether we want to or not. I thought you were going to call out Alex Gladstein as a Bitcoin maxi. I was looking forward to it. I thought
it's too much. Too much. I've already been dumping on him. I've already been dumping on him way too much. It's like now there's just not a lot of new stuff. But now I'm in a maybe I don't know if it's uncharacteristic or whatever. I will. I'll give some light to some of our Monero friends here, right? So. First of all, I was on Monero Talk last night at Douglas Tuman's show. And so he posted before then, or around then, I don't remember. He said, he posted a screenshot of like the whole Zuko stuff. He says, my reaction to the Zcash counterfeit vulnerability. How do we get a Taylor Hornsby, is what he called him, to use Elias AI to check all of Monero's code and upcoming chain membership proof, etc.? Says Zuko has me blocked, otherwise I would have retweeted this post. And to be fair, Zuko is a liberal blocker because he just likes no negativity, and there's but basically Douglas resisted the urge to be like get in on that stuff, and just was like, yo, we need to fix this. And then giving some Taylor Hornby, not Hornsby, there's only one of them,
Yeah.
stuff. He was said to get out of scams if you're interested in donating me, blah, blah, blah. He basically talked about this, about his research. And I said, can you look for bugs in Monero and other private cryptos? I'm sure someone would pay a lot for that if they're smart. And
Taylor
he
said,
absolutely. I'll add
Yes.
Monero to my queue of things to audit, which Doug Tooman, of course, answered, amazing. I'm sure the Monero community would donate to support. Zenu said, do you have a Monero donation address? And then he quoted it with all caps, based. So there's
yeah.
undeniably a lot of super petty, shitty negativity coming from people who are fans of Monero right now about Zcash. But that doesn't matter because this is what matters. I'm highlighting the good
Yes.
people who are doing good things and still might not like Zcash for a lot of legitimate or illegitimate reasons, but they're kind of being reasonable people that we're all kind of in this together at this point.
Yeah, we want more privacy, and I think that's important. And in my experience, I'll say this about Monero. My experience is that while the community can be dog shit a lot of the time, the devs and the people who are like intimately involved with the Monero project have been nothing but a joy to work with or talk to. I've seen them when everybody was shitting on Dyra Emma for a minute. I saw the Monero devs actually come out in her defense. Like things like that, make me smile. And the fact that they're willing to even ask Taylor, and that Taylor's like, yeah, hell yeah, let's do it, is awesome. There's no other way to slice that.
Yeah, I mean, it's very clear. Now, one other thing, it kind of covers a little bit of the drama thing, but that's about as far as it. Like, the drama's got so deep with so many different people everywhere, but it's all, like, very predictable. I kind of feel like in the past, especially when Zcash started to do well, in the very early days, there was some bad blood between the communities, more one-sided typically. During this later 9 months or so of pumping, there's been definite bad blood in both directions of some kind. I don't feel like this last week has been super bad bloody. I feel like there's a ton of social media opportunism, but I kind of feel like there's a muted response from what I would call, let's say, the soul of Monero, of like, they're like, okay, this is shitty. This is a real thing. We should not jump on this. So it's kind of interesting to see.
Yeah. I mean, Monero, the only thing I ask of Monero is just be honest about the fact that when you implement zero-knowledge proofs in FCMP Plus, you're going to have to deal with this exact dilemma. It's a dilemma.
Yes.
You can't have one or the other.
More dire consequences because you can't turnstile.
You won't be able to turnstile from the current decoy ring sig based system into the FCMP Plus pool.
I don't think so. Well, first of all, there won't be a transparent pool of any kind, so therefore the supply bug could hit everyone. But on the turnstile thing, this is something where I really, again, I have to do more research. From my understanding, the way they implemented full chain membership proofs is that it will affect every Monero user even if they take no action, meaning old addresses will still be valid, for example.
But
now, I don't know. Yeah.
The very next transaction they make will be an FCMP Plus transaction, and there will be no further. Like, they're just going to pick a block height and everyone's going to switch over? Okay.
I think so. Well, I don't want to say yes to that, but something like that, as in it will be seamless, kind of, as far as a transition.
Wow. Okay. You might want to take the hit and just admit that Zcash had a good idea and do a turnstile for those. But,
well,
that's Kermit with T. That's none of my business.
Or even if it does get transitioned fully, if there ever is another exploit in the new FCMP pool, or for example the new Orchard pool or the new Tachyon pool or whatever, which we're going to get to formal verification in a second, but all that stuff, at least with Zcash, every new pool you can turnstile out, and there's always a transparent pool where if you think there's a bug, everyone can run for the exits and then see how many people are left standing. whereas there's no exits in Monero. You're in it. So, yeah, I mean, if that's great in some ways and not great in other ways. But formal verification, how much do you know about that stuff?
I know that if you define your protocol as math, you can use other math to basically create a formal mathematical proof that the protocol under analysis is sound and does what it claims to do without any problems. It's a step beyond automated testing in software. You can write software, you can write tests that run against it, and you can make sure that the code is doing what it's supposed to do, but you can't mathematically prove it. With formal verification systems, that is no longer the case. You can prove out the logic of your protocol, your algorithm.
Interesting.
I
So
never used any of them. I know there's a bunch of different kinds, and that there's other types of things like formal modeling or but yeah, formal verification is what they want to do in the tachyon pool. They want to formally verify it before they're going to do that. And if you go back to Zuko's, not Zuko's, the Zuko collective, it's like Shakespeare being a group of people. The Zuko post.
yes, I'm jumping
they're
right to that point you're about to mention.
formally verify Orchard. Yeah.
In addition, Shielded Labs is initiating a project to formally verify the Orchard circuit and attempt to write a mathematical proof that there are no more undiscovered bugs in it. So, all that stuff sounds cool. As someone who's just kind of learned about it like the last couple of days, right? Because I'm not, math or crypto guy at the, cryptography guy. Why was formal verification of the, not a thing in past implementations? Let's just say of Zcash specifically. Why is it talked about as a future thing, but not in the past?
My understanding is the tools were just not up to snuff yet, or they either they hadn't been invented or they weren't powerful enough. But I don't know for sure. I'm not a formal verifier. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought I saw somewhere around there that I thought I saw somewhere around. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead. No more.
Because of AI, because of LLMs, you can use them to write these proofs, and the proofs are very unwieldy and costly to write. Even R1CS, which is the constraint system that I think they're going to use on Tachyon, is a more ergonomic one. I think you end up just the proofs are hard to write correctly. Is actually, now that I think about this, they're prone to error if a human tries to write these proofs, but LLMs are better at that type of thing. They can, again, keep more context in their working memory than we can.
Yeah, I mean, my memory is crap. My context doesn't tell me what I had for lunch, so
Yeah.
it's not that great. But yeah, this whole thing is a very fascinating thing, and this kind of goes against the whole Bitcoin mythos of pun intended, actually, right? The whole Bitcoin mythos of just like virgin birth of a cryptocurrency, and everything is just perfect as it is. And it's like, no, this is living technology, this is living software. We're running through an age with AI, which is the equivalent of a real alchemy, where, oh, guess what? We can infinitely print gold. Whoops, Peter Schiff. It's kind of the same type of thing for everything human civilization is built on today, almost. And it's maybe I'll mention after the podcast, who there's someone, for example, there's someone I know who's working on a startup for anti-drone defensive missile systems that are cheaper to use than much cheaper to use than traditional Patriot missile defense systems, which in the more recent conflicts, including Iran, the drone swarms have been less costly than the defenses to shoot them down. So it's like a war of attrition. Now there's actual startups being created to launch missile systems that are cheaper than the drones. So now it's like, warfare was one thing like 5-10 years ago, and now it's just the game is just completely different.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, everything is just so crazy. But to think about, like, when you came out with like privacy, first you had to use these clunky mixer type things, right? And then you came with things like Bitcoin that ended up being exploited to hell. There's so many crypto projects, by the way, that have had privacy projects that have had I can't remember all of the names, but there's at least a half dozen that I can think of off the top of my head that had an inflation bug and just died as a result. I'm just sorry. Like Havino, I think, was one, or I might be messing it up. There was a few.
Yeah, you know all these like deep cut B-side coins that I've never even heard of.
I am deep in this shit coinery, is what you mean, right? But like
the shit coinery. Yeah.
Yes, but there's a lot of cases of this actually happening, and the whole like supply verification thing is just like, now that we have, like, imagine the Wild West of using a privacy coin up until today, kind of. Like the whole past of you're just like raw dogging it. You're just like, let me just throw my life savings into this like Pandora's box of like whatever. Like, how could you? There's just no. The only security you have is no one knows any more than me, so the likelihood of someone wrecking this fragile, balsa wood little structure of a thing that I'm basing my life on is just low because no one knows more than me anyway. And just now everything's getting wrecked. The one of one toothpick, as it's been referred to, like multi-sig of these DeFi things getting just destroyed. Everything's getting wrecked. But it's getting so much better. Like the hardening is real, and not TMI on that, but like the fact that like with AI exploits everything is getting so much better, and the fact that there is such a thing as a formal verification proof that you can talk about, yeah, we're actually going to do that, whereas before you're just like, I don't know, no one's, I think it works. It's kind of, it's like mind blowing.
For years you would hear Nate Wilcox or Sean Bowe be like, I wish we could formally verify this, but the circuit's so complex that writing a proof for it would be very, very unwieldy, and I'm not even confident that I'd be able to write a proof, for that sort of thing. We're talking about doing formal verification of Crosslink too, just as a protocol. By the way, privacy is interesting. It privacy work inverts the traditional sort of software model. Nowadays we have software as a service, and you go and you use HubSpot or whatever the fuck, and they have a database that they can peer into, but in return you get customer service, you get security, you get database backups, you get the centralized management of their accounts and all these things, and you get all these niceties. But the instant you put privacy on all that, you can't do customer service on something that you can't like look at somebody's account and see like, oh, sorry, the data only lives on your device. I have no idea what's wrong. You have all these weird problems. So like, if you go back to Sean Bowe's talk at Token 2049 last year, he talked about, all these coins started out and now they're trying to add privacy, whereas Zcash started out with privacy, and we dealt with all the user experience issues that came with it and the slowness of it, and it takes 10 minutes to generate a sprout proof, and the wallets are all bricked because somebody figured out the shielded output attack and sandblasting, and all these things. And Zcash has been through far, far worse than this. I mean, come on, the price is already back up to like 370. You guys, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, I do remember, I think I might have earned some Zcash in the 20s and 30s. So, like, those are the dark days, right? That when I bought this, I'm pretty sure I bought this shirt for like $30 Zcash. Like, the amount of money I spent on this shirt in today's bottom prices is like crazy.
Yeah, that's your Bitcoin pizza. It's your Zcash shirt.
Yeah, it's like, that's the same thing. And the thing I'd also like to, again, it's all about the olive branches these days, is give a shout out to the Monero developers for full chain membership proofs, because like a virus can extinct an entire species, a little genetic diversity does help. And the fact that someone else is doing something that's, I would say, comparable. I don't know if equal is always, it's always tricky to get into those like, well, which is better type thing, but it's comparable, and it does the same basic thing for the end user that, you know, Zcash's shielding does. Something like that is out there that is not related in code base whatsoever, as far as I'm aware. It's just a novel, or it's a completely different branch of things. I think that's very valuable to have out there, because like as you said, like working through, like there's a certain hardening of like working through all these exploits over the years. And the thing is, the risk and reward are kind of interesting, because the risk is you're just going to get wrecked. Because you're just going to you're going to get wrecked all along the way, because you're building new stuff that's going to break. And the reward in that is by being the first mover, and everyone else gets to just sort of plug and play your work and, you know, not take the arrows in the back. Like they get to get their Orchard implementation out of testnet after the bug is patched, right? Like the advantage is that, but then, I mean, like that's the disadvantage. You do all the hard work and other people can use it. But the advantage is you are like the source of truth to a certain extent. You are like the veritable MERT, as far as like the source, the oracle of greater truth of everyone is sort of looking upstream to the Zcash developers as far as, you know, so Zcash can't really, I don't know how confidently I believe this statement, but I believe the sentiment behind it. Zcash is incapable of going to zero so long as things that implement as tech are not also at zero, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the same thing with Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin can't go to zero as long as there are Bitcoin forks that are not also at zero.
Yeah. I don't think anything will ever go to zero like that. I mean, unless like it's a coin or something like that. I think Bitcoin will go down a lot from here, but I don't think it's going to go to zero. I think people will still use it. They're still like diehard believers. But we should probably wrap up. We get going here.
Yep, sounds good. Other than, do you know if Taylor Hornby posted any donation addresses? Because a lot of people were like, "Can I donate to you so you can fix our protocol?" Make sure.
Yeah. He posted a bunch of donation addresses. I don't have them handy.
I don't see a Monero one yet. Hopefully, he gets one of those pretty soon. Let me just throw this up on the screen. So he says, to get ahead of scams, if you're interested in donating to me for finding the Zcash bug, my address is in this post or in the replies below. Be careful to check the exact username for lookalike scammers. Nothing else has been approved by me. Nope, I intend to apply for a bounty through a Zcash coin holder grant, so donations are very much appreciated but not necessary. Zcash, universal, transparent, Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin. And that's kind of where we're at. So I don't know. I think I don't know, I'll figure out something, but it might be fun to do a Maya protocol or near intent swap to do like a dash to Zcash donation.
Yeah,
token, you should. At least as a token to be like, yo, thanks for saving us from blowing the hell up in like a couple weeks here. Like,
right?
You know, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But he does need a Monero address, because especially now that he's adding in, he's adding that to his queue. And it's funny because in this whole thing, you have like everyone's giving him so much like props, and then there's a couple of like shitty trolls posting anti-Semitic things. It's like, all right, well, the trolls will always be with us.
They're always going to go there. Oh well.
Yes. So donate to Taylor if you like him. Hornby, singular, not Hornsby. He's not that Hornsby. And follow at Shielded Mark on X. You always have the best takes. Sometimes, you know, lying low, but and just really, you know, private digital cash is worth fighting for and creating a lot of havoc around. And it's what we're all collectively doing in the crypto space, in my opinion, is like one of those 0 to 1 moments, like the invention of the internet, like the invention of AI, that can really launch humanity into the stratosphere if we do it right. So I'm not fucking leaving, right?
Yeah, same here.
we're here
Goes down
to
to
see it
30
through
again.
to the end.
We're here. We'll see. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, fun stuff. All right, thanks for being on. Everyone, enjoy, and I will see you guys next week. Cheers.
Okay. Bye.
Adam, we're here because we love you. And we're all tired of watching you get abused.
Abused? By who?
Oh, hi, I'm Visa. I charge you 29% interest, 3% foreign fees, and make you wait 3 days to see if your payment went through.
But I thought you were my friend.
No, Dash is your friend. Instant, private, under a penny, and with Dash Spend, you walk into over 100,000 stores and pay like a boss.
All ready? Yeah. Awesome. Thank you very much. Feel alive, guys. This is awesome. Tastes like freedom. And I save 5% by using the app.
That's the Dash High, baby.
Let's go.
Download the mobile wallet, one tap, boom, financial sovereignty.